What's up, guys? It's Quinn.
It's Alex.
It's Iconic Comic, and we are here, and we're ready to review Spider-Man Homecoming. This is going to be a very quick, non-spoiler review, so you can get in, get our review, get out, to go see this movie. You want to start? Thoughts?
It was exactly the Spider-Man movie that fans have been waiting for generations. It was the truest Spider-Man to the comics that I've ever seen, besides some like the cartoon shows and maybe some of the video games. But to see it on the big screen,
and parts of like the first Andrew Garfield movie, like parts of that, I felt it. But it wasn't a full movie of it. This was a full movie of that teenage Spider-Man that we've always wanted, where he's dealing with problems outside of being Spider-Man. And that's why he's so relatable to everybody, is because he's dealing with problems in this movie that aren't just, like, Captain America or Iron Man don't have these same problems.
right?
They don't have girl trouble. They don't have...
They have no problem there.
They don't have, a Spanish quiz to go do. And the best thing about this Spider-Man to me was that he wasn't perfect. He made mistakes in this movie. He was learning how to be a superhero.
Yeah, he was learning about this. It's not, I guess, not too much of a spoiler. The new suit, by Tony Stark. That it's like he's just learning how to use the suit. He's learning how to be the hero that we need him to be.
Yeah. I'll just skip ahead to this. Michael Keaton as the Vulture was fantastic. In my honest opinion, I think it's the best villain since Loki in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You know what makes a really good villain? In my opinion, I think a lot of people will agree, is a good villain is doing something right.
That they think is right.
The ends don't justify the means.
Exactly.
But in their head, it gets a little cloudy. Like he's basically doing something that's, the end goal is a good goal, but he's, killing people and stealing.
I want a villain that I can, sort of relate to, but at the same time I can become compassionate to. I can feel empathy for this villain. But I'm also, I felt for Michael Keaton's Vulture in this film, but there were times where I was scared of him in this film.
He was terrifying.
There were scenes, and we'll get to this in our non-spoiler video, where...
In the spoiler video?
Or, sorry, in our spoiler video, we will get to it, where I was, like, clinging my theater seat and sweating.
Oh, yeah.
Scenes with him in. It was just intimidation. It was a great mix of, like, his Batman kind of persona from the 90s. But look, when the movie started, this is not a spoiler, when you first you get the first few scenes of Michael Keaton, I was a little worried. I thought he was going to over cheese it and like overcook the pot with the acting, but it was absolutely perfect. Acting all around in this movie I thought was top notch.
Back to what makes a good villain. Heroes fight for a reason. I mean, the Avengers are fighting to save the world. Spider-Man is fighting because it's the right thing to do. When you give a villain a reason to fight, I think that puts a lot more at stake. That's how you can kind of root for the villain. In this movie, it was really easy to almost kind of root for the villain. At
times, absolutely.
Yeah.
The action was absolutely incredible. We'll just do our final thoughts real quick. The action for me was absolutely incredible. The music in this movie, I loved. I loved the score because they took elements of the original Spider-Man theme song that we all know and love, like Spider-Man. Like they took that and just put a twist on it, put it on its head, and it felt epic in the right places.
I like that they didn't play it too much. And an analogy that I'm going to use, it might be a stretch, but Beverly Hills Cop,
where it was like the Axel F.
Yeah, that song that plays through the entire movie. It's different.
Yeah.
Or like the Imperial March. It plays A lot.
But
differently.
But they changed it up throughout the movie so that it doesn't, it doesn't seem repetitive. Mm-hmm. This is not Iron Man 4. I'll also say that.
I was going to say that.
This is our final thoughts. Tony Stark was great. One of my. It's still going to be hard to beat the first couple, Tobey Maguire movies, but it's getting close to one of my favorite Aunt Mays. Just because she's more of an Aunt May that kind of, like you saw in Civil War, she kind of roots for Peter to take up for himself and fight. Like I hope he got a couple good licks in. Like she's a kind of a cool new Aunt May, and
you know who she reminds me of?
Go ahead.
She reminds me of the aunt in Big Hero 6.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can see that.
Like she's trying to be cool. She's not super old, so she's trying to be like hip and cool, but at the same time, you're gonna be an aunt. Like you gotta step up.
Overall, this was a very 1980s John Hughes style Spider-Man movie that didn't rely too much on Peter Parker or Spider-Man. It was a great combination of both personas, and in my opinion, it's the best Spider-Man movie we've had to date.
And the number one thing, no musical number.
There was no musical number. All right. Throw me your final overall thoughts.
10. 10 out of 10.
So score. Okay. We're scoring it? Okay. All right. Yep. I'm going to give this is a 10 out of 10 for me. And when I say 10 out of 10, no movie's perfect, but pure enjoyment and entertainment and rewatchability out of this movie, I can't go anywhere else.
The rewatch value is high.
Oh, extremely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
I thought the supporting cast was really good too. Yes. His friend was hilarious, and he was like how we all would act if we found out your best friend was Spider-Man.
He was us in the movie. He was that connecting the audience part.
I love how they didn't go too much into the backstory. They didn't talk about the origin story.
Don't need to.
And they didn't say Uncle Ben, with great power comes great responsibility. They didn't say that at all. They hinted at Uncle Ben once, and we'll talk about that in the spoiler review. But that's all we needed.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think of anything that could have been better, but I'll save it for the spoiler review.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So go see this movie. Absolutely, go support this movie. Don't think of the other Spider-Man films. Be like, man, this is the second time they rebooted this thing in 10 years. Man, I'm sick of Spider-Man. No, once you see this, your tune will change.
There is a new Spider-Man
in town. Absolutely. Let us know what you guys thought in the comment section down below, especially if you've seen the movie. Make sure you guys like,
comment,
share,
and subscribe.
So you guys don't miss a single thing from the channel.
Make sure you stay tuned.
Stay iconic.
And cue music.
Holy Grail.